How's it going, everybody? Texas Man here. I hope you guys are all having a great day. Give this video a thumbs up if you guys really enjoy it. Subscribe if you guys haven't already. Also, do me the biggest favor of all, hit the bell notification button so you guys don't miss out on future videos or streams here on my channel. And in this video, we're going to be starting to read through The Final War, Regime Rising, the first chapter. And if you guys want a copy of this book to read on your own or with me, let me know in the comment section. You'll have to give me your email address, and I will send you guys via email a Microsoft Word document of the book. And make sure you guys, of course, watch the intro and overview video that I did. It's about 9 minutes long of this book. And with that, let's jump right in. I hope you guys enjoy part 1. Chapter 1, Life and Death. Evil. Evil is the thing that has caused so many wars. Evil is the morally wrong thing that has caused so many deaths. Evil is the wicked thing that brings about misfortune and suffering from disastrous situations. Evil is thought to be known under the rule of Satan. However, time will reveal that evil has many forms. Evil is just not what one battles with lightsabers, blaster rifles, spaceships, tanks, and jeeps. Evil can just be the thing that is wicked and immoral inside of oneself. Evil is a disease like cancer. Evil is a base of operations for injury, harm, ill thoughts, and manners, iniquity, corruption, and unrighteousness. The only thing strong enough to combat evil is good. Good fights against what evil is, believes in, and tries to achieve every millisecond. Good will never rest until evil is annihilated forever. The only way to make evil end is war. A war that has been on this planet for centuries and centuries. My name is Douglas Arnold Armstrong, and I send this message in the form of a book to warn you all of the coming fate of this planet. Earth is our home, my dear reader, but one day it will all change. I am not saying that this will be the exact outcome when the world as we know it halts forever. I am only saying that this is what I think could be a possibility if what my past 20 dreams were ever real. Year 1994. Location New Heaven. My Lord, another one of the rare kind has come into the universe, said Jesus Christ, sitting down at a conference room. Many other people and creatures sat in chairs around a table inside of the conference room, located inside of a building which was a part of a city. The Holy Spirit, does my son speak the truth? Asked a person covered in shining armor and glory. Jesus Christ speaks correctly, that one of rare blood that is born first has come, God, replied the Holy Spirit. Where in the universe does this creature exist? Asked God, in his armor and glory. Suddenly, a cough was made by a human man, hooded in a black robe, with his entire body colored black. God looked towards the man and glared with a look of anger. You wish to speak at this conference for the first time since the beginning of time? Asked God to the strange man. Only if Droid General Ace of C7S6, Tree General Rosh of FE74, and Hamster General Billy of Earth 2 allow it, replied the odd man. You may speak among us all, answered Rosh, speaking for his friends. What does this creature of rare blood mean so highly to this planet, to our army called the Corps, and to the universe? What makes this tiny man that one day will grow up so treasured that you speak as if he will one day put an order between good and evil forever? Asked the odd man. Mr. Shadow, you have great wisdom, but limited understanding, said Billy. You ask of what rare blood is, and yet you reveal to us that it is a tiny baby that will one day become a man, said Rosh. This man will put order back into place in this universe, said Ace. Furthermore, Mr. Shadow, when I state one of rare blood is born, it is an honor to call him my son, said God. I don't understand, Mr. Shadow. If one possesses rare blood, it is because they were not only born because of me, but because they believe in me and my teachings. This new person understands what my son did 1,994 years ago, and has a desire to see me with his own eyes some day. He is one of the few among us in the universe that loves me, and because he does so, so do I, said God. So I'm so am I of rare blood, or of your pure bloodlines of sons and daughters? Asked Mr. Shadow in a seriously angry tone. I don't understand your reasoning for your question, asked God. Do you love this new creation over me? Asked Mr. Shadow, standing up quickly and becoming angered fast. I love you all the same. I have no favorites, replied God, while pressing a red button underneath the desk to call for security outside. No, you don't, said Mr. Shadow. In fact, none of you do, said Mr. Shadow, looking at the generals. I apologize for any noise in the background, guys. I've got my neighbors all around me cutting their grass. Suddenly, security humans dashed into the conference room with blaster rifles pointed at Mr. Shadow. What is this? Asked Mr. Shadow, looking at the generals and then the Holy Trinity. You questioned my love to you several times with intense force, and have the belief that I have greater love for this new person than you, said God. So what, when it is the truth? Answered Mr. Shadow. Repent of your sins, sir, or else you will be removed from this city for days and sent to a local prison, said God. I can't repent of my sins because I have not committed enough sins for you to realize you love this man more than me. I am in second command of the Corps, and you're going to place me in a prison with creatures I have placed there personally over the years of service? I would rather burn in hell for Satan than have to repent of the acts I have not committed yet, said Mr. Shadow. The word yet from your mouth speaks of the future, which will never come to pass, said God. The Holy Trinity and the three generals rose up from their seats and stared at the second in command of the Corps. I would like to pass a bill forcing Mr. Halo Shadow to be sentenced to life in prison. He will be transported to the maximum security prison installation on the planet Prime 67 immediately, resulting in loss of his post. He will never again become a member of the Corps or be allowed any visitors during his sentence. If no one says anything after I am done speaking for 10 seconds, the bill is passed, and the bill shall be carried out, said God. The time started for 10 seconds, and Mr. Shadow looked at the generals and the Holy Trinity with a plea of help on his face. 6 seconds had passed, and Mr. Shadow saw Jesus opening his lips to say something. Wait! Exclaimed Jesus, as the time hit at the 9.99 second marker on God's watch. Mr. Shadow sighed, and everyone in the room waited for Jesus to speak. What do you wish to say, my son? Asked God. Jesus walked up to Mr. Shadow and became face to face with him, with tears in his eyes. I am sorry for things having to be this way, Halo, but you and I both know that this would have led to only violence upon the ranks, said Jesus. Will you miss me? Asked Halo. Yes, because you're loved by God, and will always be until you die. However, I will never forgive you for doubting my Father several times, and also planning to murder him tonight in his sleep, said Jesus, holding a piece of paper in his hands. The security placed handcuffs on Mr. Halo Shadow, just before he had a chance to strike at Jesus. Where did you get that? Asked Halo. From your parents, of course. They are loyal and understand my Father. They are of rare blood, and now nothing but evil, said Jesus. They are of rare blood, and are now... They are of rare blood, and you are nothing now but evil, said Jesus in Halo's face. Then when I die, I will hunt you, your Father, the Holy Trinity, and you three generals until you're all dead, said Halo. When you're dead, you will be with Satan in hell. When and how are you going to hunt us down then? Asked Billy. Very soon my revenge will begin, and the war against good and evil will end. I will wage my war against you, and will make it the final war, said Halo. I hope you have a great time on Prime 67, said God. The security guards escorted Mr. Halo Shadow out of the conference room, out of the core building, and into a shuttle to travel to Prime 67. Do you really think Halo will return from prison or death to have his revenge? Asked Rosh. I'm not sure, but what I know is that evil has many ways of bringing about its agenda, replied God. So what about the new rare blood? Asked Ace. We must locate his planet and watch over him at all costs, said God. Why? Asked Jesus. Because he will be the one that will save us all, restore order, and perhaps put an end to evil forever, said God. What is the rare blood's name? Asked Jesus. His name is Douglas Arnold Armstrong, said God. And he is on the planet called Earth, said Billy, using the table's tools to track Douglas down. Send in a team to watch over and protect Douglas from harm, said God. I will send in Chad Taylor, Peter Arnold, Laura Strong, Jack Woodson, Andrew Woodson, and Ash Becca to be tasked to this project, said Ace. I want our third in command of the Corps to be sent also, and while you are at it, tell him of Halo's fate, along with him being promoted to second in command of the Corps, said God. General B.J. Pierce will be instructed and promoted. Thank you also, said Ace, realizing he was promoted to third in command of the Corps. The group of 6 Corps leaders left the room, and the next day Chad Taylor, Peter Arnold, Laura Strong, Jack Woodson, Andrew Woodson, Ash Becca, and General B.J. Pierce left New Heaven to head for Earth. It has begun, said God, watching the Corps spaceship leave New Heaven's atmosphere. Year, 18 years later, 2012. Location, Earth. Douglas awoke to see himself in a bed. Douglas looked around to realize he was in his house in Roseville, Michigan, on the planet Earth. Good morning, Douglas, said Deborah Armstrong, Douglas's mother, entering his room. It is time to get up and prepare for your birthday party, said Deborah. Douglas looked at his clock to realize it was 4:57 a.m. Douglas strolled out of his bed, walked over to his posted calendar, and realized today was April 22nd, 2012. Douglas turned his head left to the closet that he thought led to the old 53N OT4 base. Douglas frantically looked for the button to turn the closet into an elevator, yet it did not exist. Good morning, Douglas, said a voice. Douglas looked behind himself to see Dave Armstrong, Douglas's father. Good morning, Dad, replied Douglas. Dave and Douglas walked out of the room and sat down in the kitchen. Happy birthday, brother, said Devin, already sitting in a chair. The Armstrong family of 4 sat down and began eating cereal for breakfast. When did I go to bed? Asked Douglas. Around 9:57 p.m., replied Dave. It was right after we finished watching the movie about towers and eventually the entire planet being blown up by nuclear missiles developed by America, said Deborah. After doing some math in his head, he realized that for every hour he slept, hundreds of years passed in his dreams. Your friends Philip Abbey, Paul Woodson, B.J. Pierce, Dale Keller, Ash Becca, and Amy Long will be here at 8 a.m. for your all-day party, said Deborah. Who are Amy Long and Ash Becca? Asked Douglas. You must be ill, said Devin, laughing in a tone. Ash is our next-door neighbor's child, and Amy's your girlfriend, replied Dave. By the way, Douglas, I hope you do not mind my girlfriend is coming over also, said Devin. Who are you talking about? Asked Douglas. Dave, Deborah, and Devin all laughed at Douglas. Brittany Lewis, of course, answered Devin. Douglas quickly finished his cereal and dashed into his room. He grabbed a piece of paper and pen to write down his dreams. He realized that he had a dream that allowed him to possibly see some of the future events that would transpire on Earth. Minutes later, the birthday party took place and ended at 10 p.m., with Amy Long kissing Douglas on the lips before she drove home. Location, Prime 67. A dust storm rolled through the dead area of the desert planet. However, it did not harm the several thousands of prisoners in the maximum security installation. It was lunch hour for the prisoners, so the guards were extra careful as the doors opened from the general population room to the enormous cafeteria. Every prisoner took their time selecting their meal for the day and sat down with others of their kind. However, Mr. Halo Shadow was an outcast. Once Halo finished in the line, he sat down at a table by himself, next to the table where the prison head warriors ate together. He had tried in the past to sit and talk with them during the lunch hour, yet they rejected him. I guess it is because I'm a human with black skin, said Halo in his mind every time he saw the gang of 7 together. Halo began to eat his lunch when out of nowhere a creature with 12 eyes sat down at his table across from Halo. Do you mind if I sit with you? Asked the creature. No, please join me. My name is Mr. Halo Shadow, said the black man. I am Mackay Sunstrike, said the 12-year-old eyeballed creature. You're a Colton, said Halo. Sorry, but Coltons are just humans with lizard heads. I'm a zygote, said Mackay. Never heard of your kind in the universe, said Halo. It's because I'm from the planet 230-45T in No Man's Land, said Mackay. I take it you were doing something pretty bad to alter the core. To alert the core to place you here on this rock, said Halo. Not just me, but my brother Argo, said Mackay. Another zygote sat down next to Mackay and looked at Halo. Are you putting the moves on my sister, sir? Asked Argo. Halo didn't answer, instead looked at his plate of food. Hey, freak! I asked you a question, said Argo. Argo, stop this right now. This kind gentleman was just talking to me. I only wanted to know the rules around here from someone who actually has been here before us, said Mackay. How long have you been in this installation? Asked Argo, with everyone ending in their conversations and looking at the table this event was taking place. Even the prisoner head warriors were watching as the event transpired. I have been in this installation for 16 years and counting until death, replied Halo. So you think that means you can make a move on my sister? Asked Argo, standing up from the table with a red face. I mean no harm to anyone that does not try to harm me, said Halo. Well then, today you can prove that when I kick your butt, said Argo. Argo formed fist, jumped above the table, and aimed his fist directly towards Halo's head. Suddenly, Mr. Shadow placed his hands above his head, caught Argo's fist, and slammed the zygote on the metal table. Stop yelling! Stop fighting! Yelled Mackay before Halo punched Argo in the face. Halo walked away from Argo, yet the zygote was too dumb to know when to stop. Argo walked off the metal table and charged towards Halo with fist ready. Halo turned to see Argo and his fist, leaped into the air before being attacked, and everyone froze in amazement to see Halo levitating and realized he was not to be messed with. Come back down here so we can end this, said Argo. Mr. Shadow lowered himself to the ground and was punched in the face by Argo within seconds. Halo fell to the ground, formed a fireball in his hands, and tossed it at Argo. Argo's body fell to the ground with a burning ball of fire blazing in his chest. The fireball died seconds later, and Mackay charged towards Halo to have revenge for her brother's passing. Halo levitated again to dodge Mackay's fist and landed back down to have a grip on her throat. This is another example to those that wish to fight me and declare war upon me while in this installation. The first soul was just a taste of the horrors I can bring upon you all. This second soul is a test of my strength, and will be your doom if you try to harm me, said Halo. Sorry, Mackay. You and I could have been friends, but circumstances have changed the way things happen around here, said Halo. Mr. Shadow twisted his hand and snapped Mackay's neck in half. Mackay's body fell to the ground, right next to Argo's, and the security guards rushed in to carry the dead bodies away. If I can't have a life, then I will enjoy bringing others death, said Mr. Shadow, seeing the prison head warriors watching him and smiling. Chapter 2. Earth is just a memory. Location: Earth. Douglas entered his room in Roseville, Michigan, and looked around. He was just beginning to enjoy being 18 years old, especially with one of his greatest presents being given by the next-door neighbor's kid, aka Ashbecca. The gift was a German shepherd called Dieter von Dieter von der Dornborg in German, or in English, just Dieter. Dieter was a full-grown dog and still had plenty of energy to play around. Douglas. Well, so plenty of energy to play around. Douglas and Dieter were best friends, and at times Douglas's younger brother, Devin, felt excluded from the family. Deborah and Dave gave Douglas praise for recently finishing high school and preparing for his first term at college, while Devin was told great work in his classes at middle school. Eventually, time passed on to where Douglas realized the lack of time spent with his 13-year-old brother. Hang on. Eventually, time passed on to where Douglas realized the lack of time spent with his 13-year-old brother and realized that he needed to balance his free time more carefully. Douglas soon made a balance of his time more proper. However, his time would soon be devoted to a greater cause than his dog, his brother, and his parents. Location: 53N OT4 base. My lord, Douglas Arnold Armstrong has recently turned to the age of 18. How much longer do you wish to protect him from evil when nothing has attacked him since 1994? Asked General B.J. Pierce, speaking to a screen. In the room, which was part of the base, stood Chad Taylor, Peter Arnold, Laura Strong, Jack Woodson, Andrew Woodson, and Ash Becca, right next to the general, speaking to God using core technology. Within the next year, before Douglas Armstrong will turn 19, evil will strike upon Douglas with intense force, said God. I don't doubt your wisdom, God, yet I don't understand the need for an underground base to be built underneath this house, and the one Douglas lives in, said BJ. Did you make it so the entrance to the base was only accessible through Douglas's closet that can turn into an elevator, or Ash teleport you guys inside? Asked Douglas. Yes, we reconstructed the closet in a secret elevator with a hidden button while the Armstrong family was outside enjoying Douglas's open house party, answered Chad Taylor. As I stated before, evil will strike upon Douglas with intense force, and that base you guys are inside of will be a safe haven for him and yourself for some time, replied God. Are you able to clarify that statement, God? Asked Peter Arnold. The screen went dark, and Laura determined that God shut down the conversation to keep the future a secret to the unit and General BJ. That's better. Keep a close eye on the one of rare blood and pure blood. God must have something special planned for another one of us, said General BJ. Year, 1 year later, 2013. It was late in the night on June 14th. Douglas was driving his green Camaro with 2 black stripes coming from the front bumper to the trunk. In the passenger seat sat Douglas's hot girlfriend, which was 19 with dazzling blue eyes and blonde hair, Amy Long. I had a great night tonight, said Amy. Likewise, replied Douglas. Douglas drove into his driveway, parked, and escorted Amy to the front of the house she lived in, that was located on the right side of Douglas's house. So, what do you plan to do for college? Asked Amy, opening the locked door to the house. I'm not sure yet. I was waiting for his guidance in my life, replied Douglas. That was a sweet answer, said Amy. Amy moved in and kissed Douglas in the lips for the first time in their dating of 2 years. The kiss lasted for 5 seconds and broke off with Amy slipping away into her house. Douglas left the porch, unlocked the door to the house he lived in, entered and kept the door open, and stood in silence in the kitchen, thinking about Amy. I believe in you, Lord, that you have given me Amy Longan. Try that sentence again. I believe in you, Lord, that you gave me Amy Long for a reason, and I promise to treasure her until death, said Douglas. Suddenly, a gust of wind rushed through the open door to the house and hit Douglas with such intense force that he was pushed several feet against the edge of a wall. After 10 seconds, the wind ceased and the door closed by itself, with no one pushing or pulling the heavy wooden door shut. Douglas froze in his still position on the ground and wondered deeply of what just took place. I would first come to think that there is a ghost either outside or in my house, based on my dreams that I have shared in the form of books to others. Yet I'm trying to live a normal life and forget about them. Besides, my dreams would never become reality, said Douglas. Douglas stood up off of the floor and, while being frightened to death, moved closer towards the side door of the house to see what might have caused the gust of wind and bizarre closing of the door. One by one, Douglas's feet stepped closer and closer towards the door, with a degree of alertness sharper than an owl. Douglas turned on the light to the walkway and looked down the stairway to the basement that was directly in front of the side door. Nothing was there at all but Dieter. Douglas looked above at the ceiling tiles, and nothing was there but for new dirt markings in the form of hands and feet. Douglas realized that something had been in, or had just entered, the house. Douglas dashed quickly around to see nothing and grabbed a knife for each hand from the nearby drain board to defend himself from whatever might be in the house. I hope they're not playing some joke on me, because this is not funny, said Douglas, since Dave, Deborah, and Devin were not home at the time. Douglas stared at the three entrances to his location in the kitchen with great force to make sure nothing tried to get the jump on him. The lights to the stairway, to the downstairs, and the kitchen remained on, and all of a sudden the light to the bathroom turned on by itself. Douglas looked at the entrance from the living room to the kitchen and saw nothing. Next, he looked at the other entrance from the living room to the kitchen with the front door nearby and saw nothing as well. Then, Douglas looked at the entrance from the bathroom to the kitchen to still see the light on the window without anyone or anything in the house known to him. "Come out of the bathroom, whoever you are, please, and I won't be forced to harm you," said Douglas. The light in the bathroom flickered on and off, only making Douglas timid to walk past the passageway with the side door and the steps downstairs, where Dieter was, sleeping because of it being 11 p.m. The light ceased into flickering and returned to be lit at full blast. However, a sound was made like someone attempting to communicate with Douglas without facial recognition, unlike the previous incident when wind just blasted at him. Douglas tried to listen and made out only 3 words with a faint voice. Prepare to die. The voice ended and the house was silent. Douglas grabbed a third knife and placed it between his underwear and his blue jeans near the left backside part of his butt. Douglas walked through the passageway and entered the bathroom. The door remained still, which was on his left, and the toilet was still in one piece. Douglas turned slowly to have the sink and the mirror on his right without damage, and the tub with the shower curtain pulled to prevent him from seeing what was in the tub. In front of Douglas stood the second door to the bathroom, and across that stood a hallway, which separated the second door and the door to Douglas's room. Douglas looked at the ceiling to see the exact same markings on the ceiling as in the kitchen and realized that the person was still in the house. Douglas was about to leave the house and call the police. However, a series of unimaginable events were about to transpire when Douglas heard a breath from inside of the bathroom. "Hello?" said Douglas, looking at the curtain-covered tub. Suddenly, the curtain moved. Douglas held the 2 knives in his hands with a tight grip and prepared for whoever was about to reveal themselves to be a fool to attack him. "Come out! Drop your weapons and place your hands on your head," said Douglas. "Which hands?" asked a voice coming from behind the curtain. "Both of them," said Douglas. "Both means 2. However, I have 4, said the voice. "Are you coming out and surrendering?" asked Douglas. "My kind does not surrender to your kind, even if you are of rare blood," said the voice. "Rare blood?" asked Douglas in his mind. Suddenly, the thing behind the curtain blasted out of the tub and swung one of its wings against Douglas. Forcing Douglas to smash alongside the wall. Douglas recovered from the attack and looked to see a creature with 4 arms, 4 legs, and a mouth full of razor-sharp teeth, and wings located behind its arms and legs. "What are you?" asked Douglas. "I am a T-180 from the planet Mac Kong," said the creature. "You're a nightmare creature with extreme speed and super strength. I remember you from a dream that I made into a book called The Nightmare Room, said Douglas. Whatever that means, said a T-180. The T-180 lifted Douglas off of the floor by gripping hold of Douglas's neck, but before his death, Douglas lunged the two knives in his hands into the nightmare creature's shoulders. The nightmare creature released its grip of Douglas and screamed loudly. Douglas pulled out his third knife from its resting place and stood up to finish off the T-180. Go to hell, said a voice. Suddenly, gunfire was made, and Douglas watched as the body of the T-180 collapsed to the ground to reveal Ash Becca with an odd gun behind the creature. Clear, said Ash. Two men entered the bathroom behind Ash and saw the corpse of the T-180. Are you okay, Douglas Armstrong? Asked Ash. Yes, but what is going on, and who are you two? Asked Douglas in a frantic tone. Please calm down, said Douglas. My name is Chad Taylor, and this is Peter Arnold, said Chad. What is going on? Asked Douglas. We can't explain right now, but we can promise you that the damage done inside of this house will be fixed, and the body of that creature will be removed to make it seem like nothing ever happened, said Peter. Tell me what has happened and what is going on, said Douglas, still freaking out. Douglas, remember when you awakened that on the next summer solstice, your planet... Nah, this didn't come out right. Try this again. Douglas, remember when you awaken that on the next summer solstice, your planet will burn. This information was given to us by God. Enjoy your sleep and tell no one else of this event or information, said Chad. Within seconds, Douglas was surrounded by 3 40-year-old men, was hit with a knockout punch by Peter, crashed into Ash's and Chad's arms, and fell asleep. The next day, June 15th, 2013. Douglas awoke in his bed and quickly raced to the passageway with the side door and the stairway downstairs to no longer see dirt on the ceiling. Afterwards, he walked into the bathroom to not see any dirt prints on the ceiling, the body of the T-180, any damage on the walls, or remains from Ash shooting his special gun. Is everything okay, Douglas? Asked Dave, watching Douglas in his craziness. No, I think my dreams that I used to write my books were a series of warnings, said Douglas. Douglas, we have discussed this in the past year. Your books are great works of art, but to believe they are or will ever be a reality is unthinkable and insane, said Deborah, standing behind her husband. Then why do I remember being attacked by a T-180 and being saved by Ash Becca, Chad Taylor, and Peter Arnold, said Douglas. When did you get home last night? Asked Dave. 11 p.m. What does that have to do with it? Asked Douglas. I think you were having a daydream before going to sleep, said Dave. I wasn't, though. It was real and not a dream, said Douglas. So I guess you think that tomorrow God will make you High Commander of the Corps, said Deborah. Perhaps, said Douglas. Yes, so I can't wait for your place in the Corps, because then I could meet people from the Nightmare Room world, the world of Tot, the world of RMG, the world of the island, the world of Stacy, and the Unifor universe, said Devon, coming from behind Douglas. You already have met someone from the world of Stacy, said Douglas. Who? Asked Dave, hoping to shoot Douglas's crazy idea down. Ever since I got Dieter as my dog, odd things have been happening. Last night was the worst, said Douglas. I believe you, Douglas, said Devon. Douglas looked at his parents, but they were determined for the young man to grow up and realize his dreams would never become reality. Whatever you want to believe is your personal preference. Just don't discuss it around us, please, said Dave. Dave and Deborah left the bathroom while Douglas turned around to be face to face with his 14-year-old brother, hoping to save him in 6 days. Thanks for believing in me, Douglas. For believing in me, Devon, said Douglas. Of course, but for that is what brothers are for in life, said Devon. Based on last night, please have your girlfriend Brittany Lewis here next Friday on June 21st. I have a vision something bad will happen, and I want you two lovers to be together if something bad happens, said Douglas. Like another 9/11? Asked Devon. Worse, replied Douglas. What about Amy Long? Asked Devon. She will be over here on that day as well, answered Douglas. The brothers understood each other's instructions, and the plan was put in motion to have Brittany and Amy over at the Armstrongs' house on June 21st. As the week continued, Douglas and Devon tried several times to tell their parents of Douglas's recent encounter with the T-180, a creature from the Nightmare Room world, but they would not listen. 6 days later, June 21st, 2013. It was 9:55 a.m. when Amy and Brittany entered the Armstrongs' house and were happy that the four of them were together. The lovers sat in the living room and prepared to play Risk, while Dave and Deborah took Dieter to the vet. "Are your other friends coming?" asked Amy, looking at Douglas. "Philip, Abby, Paul Woodson, and Dale Keller are currently at Cedar Point, so that is why they are not here. Ash and BJ are ill and don't want to risk it being spread to us," said Douglas. Suddenly, the ground began to rattle, and Douglas looked at his cell phone to see what time it was, yet it was dead. The ground began to rattle with greater force, and the group of four looked outside of the living room's window to see planes crashing all over the place, alien-looking fighters launching missiles destroying homes, and alien ships dropping out of the sky deploying troops. The ground continued to rattle, and for a brief moment, Douglas's cell phone turned on to reveal it was 9:57 a.m. "What time is it?" asked Devon to his brother. 9:57 a.m., replied Douglas, as his phone shut off for good. "I thought your dreams said Earth would be destroyed at 9:57 p.m., said Brittany. "Yes, but we find out Earth was not destroyed and only had its inhabitants killed," said Douglas. "Are you saying Earth as a planet will be destroyed?" asked Amy. "Yes, but first every man, woman, and child will be slaughtered. Then this army will burn everything and use their ships to turn Earth into nothing," said Douglas. Then, out of nowhere, 7 people teleported inside of the living room. "Douglas, you and your friends must come with us," said Ash. "It's Chad Taylor from the Nightmare Room world, Peter Arnold from the world of Tot, Laura Strong from the world of RMG, and Jack Woodson and Andrew Woodson from the world of The Island," said Devon. "So that means Ash, Becca, and General BJ Pierce are from the Unifor universe," said Douglas. "To tell the truth, we are all from the same world, dimension, and universe. Douglas's dreams from God were made in different ways to bore him while he dreamed. The cool thing is that we have several of the powers Douglas dreamed," said General BJ Pierce. "Sadly, me and my brother can only turn into mummies while in the Bermuda Triangle area on this planet," said Jack. Suddenly, missiles destroyed Amy's and Ash's house, to allow Laura to see a fighter headed straight for Douglas's house next with its blaster cannons ready. "Run to the 53 NOT4 base," said Laura. The group of 11 dashed out of the living room and into Douglas's room. "Douglas, open the elevator," said BJ. "How? There's no button. I even checked based on my dreams a year ago," said Douglas. "You have to say the password to make the button appear," said BJ. "Unit 4," said Douglas. A noise was made, and Douglas looked as the green button appeared out of nowhere. Douglas pressed the button, and his closet transformed into an elevator, big enough to hold 40 people. The fighter locked onto the house and was 10 seconds away from turning the house into dust. The group of 11 entered the elevator, allowed Jack to push the button down inside of the elevator, and watched the door close, and felt the elevator begin its journey to the underground base. "Mom and Dad did not believe us," said Douglas. "They made their choice," said Devon. "Philip, Abby, Paul Woodson, and Dale Keller believed you. So why didn't they stay and have a chance of life?" asked Amy. "I guess things happen for a reason. Do you and Brittany believe me now?" said Douglas. "I always have and always will," said Amy. "Likewise," said Brittany. The fighter fired 2 cannon shots and turned the house Douglas lived in into dust. "Perfecto! My lord will be very happy to know the one of rare blood is destroyed," said the human with 8 eyeballs in the fighter. "General Octapunny, the process of slaughtering all humans, burning all buildings, and turning Earth into dust particles has begun and is working perfectly," said a voice in Octapunny's fighter. "Good to hear. Continue the attack," said Octapunny. Location: 53N OT4 base. The elevator stopped and the door opened to reveal the amazing base. Piles of ammunition for blaster rifles laid everywhere, and a door with an eye scanner, a thumb reader, and a password pad to enter the main room of the base. Chad cleared the security measures, the doors opened, and revealed more amazing technology and items to the group. Lightsabers, blaster rifles, scanners, and a deep space communicator dazzled the minds of Douglas, Devon, Amy, and Brittany. "So what are you going to do before we die when Earth is annihilated?" asked Brittany. "Ash, can you teleport us to the base on Mac?" asked BJ. "Sure thing," replied Ash. Douglas, Devon, Amy, Brittany, Ash, and BJ grabbed a green lightsaber and a blaster rifle, while Chad, Peter, Laura, Jack, and Andrew only grabbed a blaster rifle. The reason being was only some people were good at using lightsabers, and although Amy and Brittany did not know how to use a lightsaber, their lovers promised to teach them. "Let's go to the planet Mac and talk to the Holy Trinity face to face for the first time in over 19 years, said BJ. "You have been on Earth for 19 years? For what purpose?" asked Amy. "To protect the one of rare blood," said Chad. "Who is that?" asked Douglas. "You," replied Chad. Douglas really wanted to know what the T-180 that attacked him meant when he said that he was one of rare blood, and planned to ask God very soon. Ash teleported the group of 11 off of Earth just as the final child was slain by Octad Punny with his red lightsaber, with his Koltan army around him. Within 2 hours, fire was lit to so many buildings that you could see the raging fires in space. 3 hours later, Octad Punny ordered his army of ships to turn Earth into dust, and so it was done. On June 21st, 2013, around 4 p.m., Earth was erased from the universal map. The group cried seconds after they arrived at Mac and realized Earth was gone forever. "Everyone we knew as friends and family are dead," said Amy, crying heavily. "It is not the end of the universe," said Douglas, no longer crying and acting like a man. "You are right, but it is the end of the only place we knew as home," said Amy. "My parents, my friends, my dog, my normal life's future, and my planet are gone. To us few, Earth is just a memory," said Douglas. "Agreed," said Amy, ending her crying and hugging Douglas, still in sorrow. And that's going to do it for me, guys. Look forward to part 2 coming out very soon. You guys all have a great day. See you guys in the next video or stream, whether it be here on YouTube or at Twitch at Douglas447. Have a great one, guys.